Hey everyone, and welcome to Television from the Multiverse, the DC TV podcast from MailFuzz TV. I am Peter, and joining me as always is Connor.
Yes, it is.
Well, you didn't freeze up. I'll have to pause for you to speak, and normally if I do that, occasionally you'll just be like,
I'm on to you now.
deer in the headlights,
It's because, no, you've done it too many times recently that I'm like, especially on this show, that I'm prepared.
So, forewarning, we're recording this one a little bit earlier in the week than we normally do. The reason being is that Connor's away for a couple of days at the weekend. So because of that, we're actually a little bit shorter as well in terms of content. We didn't do a Young Justice this week. We've not watched one, just to keep it down a little bit, because we had to squeeze it in a day we don't normally record this. So it's a later week this week. We'll be back to normal next week, which next week's a Supergirl finale, actually. So the week after that will be just full-on off-season content. So we'll get to that when we get to it.
Doubling up on the Young Justice.
Yes, so none this week, one next week, and then after Supergirl's done, it'll be 2 Young Justice a week, along with Smallville and Lois and Clark. So yeah, we're going to talk about Supergirl, of course, also an episode of Smallville and an episode of Lois and Clark. That's what's coming up on this week's show. So we'll be a little bit shorter, I imagine, unless we go off on a tangent. I'm just... Cats
Awful
knocking...
cats, yeah.
Knocking
don't worry, I've got opinions on Supergirl.
Oh, I'm sure you do. Cat, you're actually, like, throwing the keyboard at my face now. Like, I had to move my keyboard just so that he's not pushing it into the mic.
Because they're awful.
And now he's... Cat, what are you doing?
Hey, you wanted an extra couple of minutes of time. Here you go.
Ruining my placement. He's basically, because I've moved the keyboard, he's turned around and said, "Oh, there's more room now. I can do like a different shape." And now he's reformed himself. And now he's looking at me like, "What?" Yeah. Actually, that's not what... Wesker looks at me like, "What? What are you going to do about it?" Firefly looks at me like, "Please let me away with it. Please let me away with it. Don't pick me up." Alright, Cat. If you cause no more trouble, I'll let you sit there. Alright, we're good.
There's definitely going to be a tail on screen at some point.
Can I get it up? Oh, no, it's not quite reaching. No. Sorry, Cat. He's now staring at me like, "What are you doing with my tail?" Alright.
Shall we talk about some TV?
Let's do that. Yeah, Supergirl. That was a Supergirl episode. So it's funny. Last week we talked about... Oh, sorry, I should tell you. Season 3, episode 21. It's called Not Kansas, right? I was going too casual the way I was rolling into that. I was just going to go for it.
Yeah. Gotta do a little bit of formalities.
Right. So last week we were talking about the possibility of Selena and Argo City and what that might mean going forward. What season 4 could be, including that stuff.
Yeah, forget it all.
Yeah, well, as soon as she... Because I speculated last week that we might end the season with her going to live there for the summer, right? Before we come back. But as soon as she was going to leave, 5 minutes into the episode, I went, okay, no, we're dealing with this season then.
Yeah. And I'm kind of disappointed.
I'm kind of 50-50 on it. Like, on the one hand, it feels kind of like, okay, I see the potential for more of this, so why are we doing it all in 2 episodes? But at the same time, I'm like, well, it makes the two episodes really kind of action-packed with this big idea. So, I mean,
to a degree, it feels weird to me, Kara just being like, yeah, I'm going to go over there now.
To be fair, they did defeat Rain first and bring Sam back, so it's not like she's leaving Earth in dire straits.
No, that's true. But then that brings me to my follow-up. This does not feel like the second to last episode.
It doesn't. It's a bizarre structure.
There is no tension. Usually in a penultimate episode, I'm expecting, okay, we're ramping up towards the end. We're setting up the threat, and this is kind of just, okay, here's a side adventure.
Do you know what the funny thing is? I still think it's oddly working out better than any of the previous seasons in terms of what the overall plot is. It's not necessarily functioning like I expect a season-long plot to function on a TV show, but I think it's at least, because it's doing different things, even if that's weird in terms of ramping up the tension, because it's doing different ideas.
I agree with it from a story perspective.
Yeah.
I disagree. When pacing, it just feels wrong.
Pacing's weird, but... Compare this to the season of The Flash. Which one are you going with?
I'll take this every time, obviously.
Obviously, right? Do you know what it kind of reminds me of, right? And I'm not just doing this for the reference, but the hit television show Buffy the Vampire Slayer had a spin-off called Angel. And Angel had this weird trend for about 3 of its seasons 2, 3, and 4, where they had this thing where the last 4 episodes would always be this little mini arc at the end of the season. And somehow they kept doing it, even though it was weird. And it always felt weird. And some of those things are good. Like, it's not like I hate them all, but it was always kind of a weird thing, and it kind of reminds me of that, where it's like, oh, you've got this idea for the last few episodes of the season. Or is it the last? Cause I'll say the last 3 because we introduced Argo City last week, so I'd say this is like a trilogy
Yeah, sure.
At the
But
end of the
it
season.
kind of undermines Rain as a concept now. Because, I'm like, okay, we spent all this time building Rain, like a long time building Rain. And I'm just like, okay, whatever.
Well, this is the thing, though. Alex is upset because she's given Ruby back, and now that Rain's not really gone, I'm like, okay, Sam's still definitely dying. Ruby's still getting adopted. It's happening.
Yeah, yeah.
It's so happening.
I mean, Alex is literally looking up adoptions stuff.
She is, and she won't have to soon because Ruby's just going to fall into her lap, basically.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, way easier than going through that whole system.
Yeah. But anyway, so what? what was I getting to? I did like the episode overall, though. I do have some critiques here or there. As always, when I always appreciate it when it tackles an issue. I applaud it for doing so. Sometimes it can be a bit clunky in its execution of tackling said issue.
Yeah, this was in. I'm not a big fan of this episode.
Okay, all right.
I think like there's a lot of fine ideas, but not at this place in the season, not in as clunkily written as this. Because I've often complained about this show being clunky when it tackles issues.
I think I'm much more critical of some of the cringy romance stuff in another plot.
Oh well, we'll get to that.
Yeah.
Don't worry. But oh man, so much of this, especially like one of the worst scenes with the gun control stuff for me was the scene with James and Lena.
Okay, yeah, but
Like, that was horrible.
Okay, so it might go somewhere interesting because she's like pro guns, and he kind of calls her on it, and it's like okay, and then
She defends it, and then she's like, "Oh, I wish you'd see my point of view, like I can understand yours," and he doesn't at this point, and that's it. And then he never does. He never has to confront this again in the rest of the episode. He gets his way at the end of the episode. Not with Lena, but he's the one who convinces Jean to change the DEO.
what's your problem there?
My problem is that you shouldn't be setting up that she the point was she was saying no, we need to learn to converse and accept each other's ideas, and he never has to confront it again in the episode. It's just he gets his way. Which maybe I happen to agree with him that his is the right way.
I think you're looking at this in a funny way, though. I think you're looking at this through a weird lens where you think that's the point of the episode.
No, but I feel like it makes that the point of that scene redundant.
It maybe makes that scene redundant, but to me, the rest of the stuff with the DEO, because to me it wasn't about Jimmy getting his way. To me, it was about Jean kind of realizing he agrees and he wants to make a change because he's in a position where he wants to make. So the whole thing is that some villain has this really fancy gun that was meant to be a proprietary gun for the DEO that was designed specifically for them for enforcement, for tactical use for people who are trained. And they go to the gun manufacturer and the guy's like, "Oh yeah, we made a civilian version and sold it because people like guns, a hunting rifle."
Yeah.
And this is really okay. So we're seeing what you're hitting on here, right? This is the AR-15 or whatever, right? You're doing this story, right? And John's like, no, this is bullshit. This is a tactical weapon that should not be in civilian hands.
I agree, but to bring this back around to James again, there's a point in this scene where he's confronted where.
I'm going to kill that cat. I'm going to kill him.
No, he's confronted and he's like, what are you playing at? And the guy goes, hey, I'm a businessman. You want everyone in the world to be reading Catco stuff. I want people to have guns because it makes me money. That's business. And again, it just kind of, all right, that's it. And it's just shrugged off. It's not brought up again. It really annoys me that they keep challenging Jimmy and then nothing comes of it.
Well, I don't know. It feels weird to me, because to me, I knew what the argument against what he just said was. And it was more like Jimmy just there's no point in arguing with this guy. Because the comeback to should be, yes, but magazines aren't being used to kill people.
No, I agree.
That should be the comeback to that statement.
I am on this side of the argument. But I feel like it was just weird to me to present the challenge and then not actually fight the argument.
I think that's only an issue with the Lena scene. I don't have a problem with it in I think there's some clunky dialogue. I think because when John announces to the DEO, there's that one bad actor who's he's there to be like, no, but how can we defend ourselves if we're taking away lethal guns? And I was like, okay, you're pretty bad. However, I like the overall point of that scene, though. I like that John says, you know what, we have a choice. We can actually make the choice to change how we do things and make a stand to say, no, even us, we're just going to design other weapons that we can subdue people without killing them, right? We're at the point now where we can just do that. Wynn's going to go make some sleep. He's going to call Fitz from Shield and say, "How do you make those sleeper guns?" And he's going to be like, "Okay, this is what you do." Do you know what? I love that Wins basically has become the fits and that he makes everything, but he's never actually been shown as to be qualified enough to actually do any of it.
Yeah, no, it's something that dawned on me when I was watching this episode that Wins kind of got the shaft of it this season. He had that one episode recently with his mother.
Yeah.
But other than that, he's been Deus Ex Machina dude.
Which serves a purpose in the plot or in the show, but
yeah, but it's just really underwhelming. This character, from look at like season 1 where, you had all his work relationship stuff, you had his stuff with Kara, you had the stuff with his father. Pretty, three-dimensional character, and now he's a bit of comic relief, and he's a piece of tech.
Maybe if you've got some complaints about the season, it's maybe hoping that Win will get a bit more focus in season 4. That's a fair point. But no, I like Jean's decision that he also decides.
I do too, yeah.
And he talks down a shooter who's going to go on a shooting spree, and it's like, okay, right, so we're getting really topical here. I think, obviously season placement's maybe an issue here, and we can talk about that, but I think it makes sense to do this story when Supergirl's not here, because that's kind of the whole thing. Supergirl leaves and goes to Argo, and everyone else is left sort of behind, and they're left to handle it on their own. And you've got people who leave the scene in disgust. What? I can't use a gun to defend myself. But I kind of get the point of this scene is that even if this is going to piss some people off, we have to make steps forward. And they're going to have to just kind of, they can go somewhere else where they don't feel that they're being hampered by the rules, but ultimately, if we make a good example here, ultimately that might inspire other people to say, hey, we can do that too. If they can pull it off, then maybe we can start switching over to things too. I like it because I feel like it's a sort of, this topic will come up or in some cases just be ignored by most shows, because action shows, you have characters shooting guns all the time. It's just a thing. You kind of accept it, it's an action show, and it's like, at least this isn't, it's not like, oh, this is just regular like people. It's usually people who are either cops or FBI or whatever. In this case, it's DEO agents who work with superheroes.
Yeah.
But I like it, at least it's like, no, maybe we should actually stand up to like the standards of Supergirl a little bit and say, hey, she doesn't kill people. We can now probably make the tech that says we don't have to do that either, so we should.
No, I agree with the point and what it's doing. I just think this feels like have Supergirl go off at the end of the season, like we were saying. Do this as your first episode next season.
That'd have probably been better. Of course, obviously, Selena's coming to Earth. Reign's been reactivated seemingly at the end of the episode, so obviously they've got big plans for whatever's going to happen. It was Selena who gave her the rock, so I guess it's like, she
did something to
concocted something in it. Yeah, it's manipulated rock.
Sure, yeah.
I know. We'll see.
I'll be honest. I'm just not a big fan of Kara going off like this in this episode. She's just like, do you know what? I'm going to go home. Or, she makes a big point of going, do you know what? This isn't my home. To Alex. I'm like, really? You've lived here like most of your life at this point.
Well, I had a problem when she first said that it felt like home. But she did actually say repeatedly afterwards that Earth is now her second home. And she then said, and she said multiple times she's coming back. This wasn't like, oh, goodbye forever. So I don't know who I'm going for, but she did make multiple references to coming back.
Yeah, at some point.
Well, yeah, but I feel like most shows wouldn't even acknowledge that. Most shows would just be like, oh, we'll pretend she's going away forever, even though we know she's not. Like, we know she's going to be back.
No, see, I don't know, the way she was talking about it, like, oh, I'll be back, it sounded like, oh, I'll come back and visit.
But yeah, but again, we know that's not going to happen.
No, I know, but the way she was having the attitude to it, that just bothered me a little bit.
That's fair. Obviously part of the point is once she gets to Argo, she actually starts to realise that maybe she's suited better on Earth. I actually think that's an interesting point, is that part of me thinks we're going to destroy Argo or something, or it's going to be inaccessible after the finale. And, well, that would be fine. Part of me thinks it's more interesting if she just decides, you know what, I'll visit Argo, but Earth is my home.
Yeah,
this is where I
agree.
belong.
I think that's the better choice to do.
And it seems like that's kind of where it's going, maybe, with some of the stuff on Argo, where she's still kind of looking over her shoulder. She has that scene with her mother where she's like, it's hard trying to fit back in. I'm so used to being on Earth and like my family there and so on. So
speaking of mothers, her Earth mother got shafted. Not even a goodbye.
I think the hard truth of that is paying the guest actor to come back for an episode.
But have her do a phone call. write a letter, something. No, not even acknowledgement. That's cold.
That is a fair point. I feel like that's more about TV costs and politics than it is about them whiffing on the script.
Yeah, sure. I would have liked some acknowledgement though of it.
No, that's fair. I think why I'm not as harsh on this episode for the most part to you is because, as well as some of it's a little bit clunky here or there, her going to Argo to spend time there makes sense. That is obviously what she's going to do when she finds out this place exists. You know, because I think we forget she left when she was like 13, so it's only been about 15 years since she left Krypton. So it makes sense she would want to go back. Like I would have been annoyed at the show if they'd kept that a secret until like the end of the finale. Like I'd have been like, it's kind of weird or whatever. Like that should have always been the plan.
No, I agree, but I do feel like it was the sort of decision that should take a little bit of time for her thinking over.
Yeah. At the very least, I'm going back for a week. I'll be back in a week. You know, I'll dip back and forth.
I want to go and now that we're out of rain, I want to go and spend some time and just see them for not in a rush to get back. I want to go and just have a conversation.
They did show us how easy it was to get there, and she has dealt with rain. She's maybe overexcited. She's overwashed with emotions because she's found her mother and her city again. Although she claims it was identical. She didn't really recognise it that much at the start of last episode, but I'll gloss over that.
It's all been rebuilt exactly the same. Okay.
Yeah. Another one of Selena's minions was trying to kill her this episode, and no one was believing her. She's got a best friend who's now the head of the it's not the police, it's the peacekeeping peacekeepers or whatever they're calling it. Yeah. A lot of Calexes running around, which I like. Well, they're probably called different things, but
but I like those little robots.
I do. Well, because the one in the fortress got destroyed, so we've not seen one in a while.
I know. I miss that little dude.
I know.
Maybe we can get a new one now. She can take one back home.
Yeah. No, I agree the episode was clunky with a lot of what it was doing. Like, I think there was definitely scenes with the gun control stuff that was like, this is really like hitting on the nose. But then there was a lot of ideas behind a lot of the scenes that I liked. You know, I liked Jean talking the guy down. I liked him making the choice himself. And again, it felt like a personal thing. I didn't feel like Jimmy was in his ear like, wait, you should do this, Jean. He never even suggests to them, because he actually kind of just goes along with the idea that, yeah, this is fine for you because you're this military group who are trained and use it tactically. He never really argues that. He's never against that. And Jean makes the choice.
There are moments with Jimmy that are weird for me, like when, so John's talking down the dude at the end, right? And we see Jimmy's there in his Guardian suit behind the wall, waiting to intervene if things go bad.
Before we go on, can we just talk about him playing basketball as Guardian a little bit?
Maybe we can. Yeah.
It just cut to him in the Guardian suit playing and we've seen him in the Guardian suit like twice this season, and this is like the third time, and he's playing basketball. I just thought it was funny.
It just said to me, they really don't know what to do with Guardian.
Well, I feel like they do now.
Basketball.
I feel like between this episode and then the one a couple of weeks ago, I feel like it's like, oh no, we'll use him for these types of like social issue episodes, which is that's not a bad idea. It's like a fine thing to do with him. But hey,
but yeah, no. What I was saying is, so Jimmy's there in his Guardian outfit behind the wall in case he needs to intervene. It turns out he doesn't, and John turns down, and he just comes out anyway. It's like, yeah, cool, good job, you did it. Like, I mean, you didn't really need to be there for that final moment of it. Like, it struck me as weird that he just stepped out when the guy was still clearly panicking, and it's like, oh yeah, let's throw the guy that he shot at in front of him. That's gonna help.
But it didn't really strike me as that odd, because Jean had already subdued he'd already grabbed the gun, and I don't know. I can't really dispute it. I just never struck me as weird.
It was just the way it played to me. I don't know.
If anything, the only thing I thought was weird about it is, well, Jean can just, let the bullets go through him. He's not really in any danger in this scene.
He's not, no.
But
other than blowing his cover, I suppose.
Oh, sure, yeah, I suppose that's a good point. But does this guy even know who he is? Like, to even say, oh, that guy, Hank Henshaw, he's
probably not.
He's an alien.
Yeah,
and to be fair, the president knows about him at this point, right?
Yeah.
So it's not like even the higher-ups would be, like, shocked about it. It's just, it's only... I don't know.
The public. He never goes out in the public anyway.
Yeah, so... But no,
I don't know. I agree that the core ideas in this episode are really solid. It's just I don't think any of them are well executed at all.
That's fair. Like I say, I think I enjoy when it tackles social issues like this, even when it is a bit clunky. This one was definitely the clunkiest it's been in a while.
Oh, yeah.
There was a couple of just moments here or there that really stuck out to me. Like I said, the bad actor who was like, "Oh, but what can we do if you take my guns away?" And he walks off. And it's obviously very on the nose in places, but I appreciate the intent. Like, I think, okay,
I get it, yeah.
Especially in a superhero show where, because I don't feel like they've ever really even talked about the fact that the DEO agents will just go around shooting people. Supergirl's there, she's got a strict no kill rule, right, and she won't kill anyone.
But she's never said, "Hey guys, can you not kill?"
Yeah, and they've never really explored that. So I'm glad, the mentality is no, like we're human soldiers. We're trained to do this. This is what we use, and then the idea of no, we should. We can do something different, so let's do something different. It makes sense to me, especially if you're inspired a little bit by a superhero who has these high ideals and morals and
yeah, because it's more like because some will argue that law enforcement shouldn't have guns because we've seen what happens, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whereas technically they're law enforcement, but like I say, they're more soldiers, and no one's saying soldiers shouldn't have guns.
No, because no one argues that something like SWAT shouldn't exist for the type of occasion where an armed presence is absolutely essential. Yeah. Yes, but should the people pulling you over for parking, speeding tickets,
should they have them?
Should they have guns?
It's
probably
completely
not.
Different, right?
Yeah.
So which is why I think they can justify the DEO having guns if they'd never done this, it was never a problem.
They're a team that goes in fighting alien terrorists. So yeah, they should be armed.
They're alien SWAT.
Basically, yes. So they should. No one's ever argued that. Whenever the gun control debate comes up, no one ever argues that there shouldn't be a single human being with a weapon. It's not. That's not the argument.
Exactly. Which is why I think the core idea of the guy at the end, that he was an awful actor and it was clunky dialogue, but the idea of some of them being uneasy about this because they think that their job, they're in such a high risk job that our job is to be having those weapons. Yeah. I understand why some of them, when John says, "Hey, look, if you don't like this, you can walk out and you go to a different division." That's fine.
Yeah, you give them the choice, and then I think also like if you come out with the new weapon, it's like, hey, it'll put someone down just the same. It'll just knock them out instead.
Yeah.
If you show them it working all the same, then what difference does it make to you?
You'll probably convince some of them. Yeah. No, I agree, but I understand why some of them are hesitant because they are the front line against a lot of this stuff, right?
Honestly, I mean, I would have saved the speech until you had a prototype, and then to prove your point, I'd have shot that guy in the head with it, and then woke him up like 5 hours later and be like, "Well, was that effective? Did it work?"
Yeah.
Do you feel safe?
I think you need to. I don't think you shoot the guy. I think you have to shoot one of the aliens in the cells just to prove that it works on the things that they're trying to take down.
But yeah, I'm basically thinking.
I think shooting a guy. I mean, that's fine. I could just use a taser.
What was funny actually to me is that they're talking about these guns that weren't lethal, and obviously I thought of the sleeper guns from
the Icers.
The Icers from I always call them sleepers because that's the word that comes to mind for me. But yeah, they're called the Icers from Shield. And at one point, John says, "We're not this. We are agents of," and I'm like, "Is he gonna say Shield? What?"
I don't. And at the end, Jimmy's like, "See, the only thing anyone ever needs is a shield."
Yeah, I know. I was like, are they throwing some shit outs to Shield here?
Speaking of.
Season
complaint. What the hell happened with Talbot? From I can't remember his name. Edge in this.
Morgan Edge, yeah. I guess Shield gobbled them up and you couldn't get them back.
Right, but it feels like that has just been left dangling and just forgotten about, right?
It does. I mean, with a bit of luck, maybe we'll get them back next season and it'll just be like an ongoing presence.
Maybe, but I mean, it feels really weird that we had him for maybe half a season and then. Nothing. He's just not a thing.
What may be interesting is if Lena goes full evil next year, and then we could have him back in that context of Lena's now went full.
Lena's
full
worse.
Luther. Yeah, Lena's now worse than Morgan Edge is. That could be an interesting thing to play with next season if they go because. No, that's spoilers for Shield. I won't say that, but I was just.
Yeah.
He's got more free time. That's all I'm saying. So.
Shield's a summer show next year. It's fine. We've got plenty of time to shoot him whenever we want.
That's a really weird choice of words given the context of this episode, but yeah.
Yeah. Camera shooting.
But hey, it is worth mentioning in context of this discussion. We're not going to get politically. We're going to talk about the debate itself too much, but it's worth mentioning we both come from a place where police don't carry guns. Never mind public.
When they were trying to track the dude down, and Wynn was like, I don't know what the problem is. We told the shop he passed all his background checks clean. No history of mental health problems. I'm like, okay, we get it. You're saying they need to be tighter controls because this guy just walked in and bought 4 guns. But I mean, there are better ways to write this.
Yeah, again, the intent of the scene is very well intentioned, and it's a solid argument. It's just clunky.
It is, yeah.
We need to talk about this. Jimmy actually shouting "Tesch-MACHER" in that way cracked me up.
It killed me.
That's got to win a point back to the episode for you, right there.
I know. I will say that.
And then,
I feel like Jimmy just shot up about 5 points for how he's been this season.
Yeah. He just got like 5 points.
Immediately, I like him more.
Tesch-MACHER like that. I mean, I like the police shooting. The police arrest debate one a bit more than you did.
It's funny because I said that had a few clunky scenes, right? But it had good moments in it. This, I think, is all clunky. It's a shame because I have been enjoying the season for the most part.
But Miss Tesch-MACHER's like a physicist. She starts going like, "Oh, is that the paper from this dude? Oh, you should read this one. His thoughts on neural blah 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 will blow your mind." And I'm like, "What?"
And Lena's like, did you know she was a theatre?
Now, the best part about this, though, is that I think this is going to lead to Lena taking her as her assistant, so that when she goes evil, we actually have a Luther, have a Tesch-MACHER. That's what I think.
I mean, she's in the lab with her at the end.
This is where I think this is going. And that's kind of exciting. Now, all we need now is Lena shouting, "Miss Tesch-MACHER!" in that same way. And that's gold.
Oh, she'll do it.
Yeah. So...
I think will be really interesting is when she goes evil.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have her still having a relationship with Jimmy? Like, is there a point where
will he not know for a while? And she's I think that might be. There'll be like a CD like behind it. It'll be like Lois and Clark season 1 where Lois thinks Lex is alright and Lex is just a fine businessman.
Like, how long does it go on for? And until Jimmy's like, "Do you know what? No, this is too far."
And it'll be that weird thing where Supergirl might like she'll be fine with her for a while. And then eventually she'll kind of like start to get suspicions, but Jimmy won't believe her. He'll be like, no, you've always had a thing against Lena. And it'll be like a whole drama. And then it'll be like the shocking moment. It turns out she's Ultra Woman.
I think the irony of, when Jimmy inevitably does you've always had a thing against Lena. He was the one against her for the longest time. Yeah,
because he was the one who had experienced a bit more Luthering.
Yeah, he was like, no, she's a Luther. We can't trust her.
Alright, so speaking of Supergirl in Argo City, so she had no powers, but Mon-El gave her the flight ring, the Legion ring, so she was doing a little bit of swooping around at one point.
A little bit, yeah.
A little bit. Excuse me while I die.
That's fine.
Okay, so... The music start. Actually, that's one complaint I'll have. This episode, there was 3 licensed tracks in this episode, which now Supergirl will do it occasionally, but it's never usually 3 in one episode. So I'm critiquing that for a bit.
Yeah, it's
but
very heavy use.
As soon as the song started playing, I'm like, this is the song from the start of the season. This was the dream, and then she even brings up the dream, and I even notice she's wearing the same dress. I'm like, that's the same white outfit.
Yeah.
And then we get flashbacks to the dream, and I'm like, oh god, they're doing it, no. And I wanted nothing more. After Mon-El said everything, like, Irma said, figure out your feelings for both, you and her, and I was like, I wanted Supergirl to go, I appreciate you not, try to be open with me, not lie to me and be in the open, but Mon-El, you're married. Shut up. Like, I really wanted the scene to end that way, and it didn't.
Yeah, do you know what really annoys me about this scene?
Mm-hmm.
Is I was starting to like Mon-El. He was going through development. He had the scene on this very topic with Jean, and Jean was like, hey, you're only doing this for you. And he's like, do you know what? You're right. I won't. And then here it is. And he even acknowledges this is the worst possible moment to say this, but I'm going to do it anyway.
Yep. I like that.
Why are you being such a dick again?
I liked that scene with Jean, and I thought that was the point he was going to take from that. And now the fact that he's actively went against that after agreeing with it makes me hate his decision. It makes me actively hate the choice to do it. And on top of that, because earlier in the episode, like when he sees the kid again, and Supergirl cracks a little joke. Oh, you're even saving people and not telling me about it. You're not bragging about it. Oh, you really have improved.
Yeah, and in a way, I was like, I like that because he's like, he doesn't feel the need to be showing off about it anymore, right?
Yeah,
last season, he'd be like, hey, I just saved a kid.
That was a nice moment, yeah.
But the problem is, I saw this and went, oh crap, this is her going, oh, he's changed.
He needs to sacrifice himself at the end of the season.
Oh, please.
I do not want to go into season 4 with them being a couple again. I really don't want to do that.
No, please no.
I really don't.
It's happening though.
I'm hoping there's a complication, because an unhappy Supergirl is good drama. This is back to the hit television show Buffy the Vampire Slayer rules. Joss Whedon once said that when Buffy's sad, ratings are good. So you want the drama, you take away his soul. You take away his soul. Season 4, Mon-El's lost his soul and he's evil.
I'd love any Mon-El. I reckon the actor could pull off evil.
Evil Mon-El and evil Lena, and they're a couple. They're bumping the nasties.
Oh, that'll make Kara feel bad.
It would. So then Kara goes on full Supergirl revenge, but heroic revenge, not avenge mode. Well, even that feels weird because it's a Marvel thing now. But you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Anyway, we got a little bit silly in this. We got serious for a bit. We had a serious topic to talk about,
and then Mon-El ruined it all.
Yeah.
This is another part of why I just don't like this episode, because it just goes down all this route of bringing up shite that I thought we were done with.
Here's the thing, because the season's had such a weird up and down pacing, and it's not been like all one big plot building to the ending, I think even if the finale ends up not being that great, I don't think it actually hurts the season as a whole that much. It's not like, I feel like there's some shows where if it doesn't stick the landing, okay, the entire season's kind of like on sort of hindsight.
Yeah, it's not going to be quite that bad.
Because so many of the episodes were kind of standalone in what they were doing that was good. They were so standalone that even if this like final rain fight and the Argo City stuff doesn't add up too much, I won't be too upset about it.
Oh, that's fair. I feel like I think I'm a little bit more bothered because, again, they were building up rain, and I said a few episodes ago when they were really ramping it up, I'm like, this feels like it felt too early, like we were due some filler afterwards. And this episode kind of feels like a filler episode.
I don't think it's filler. Do you know what I think this is? This is we think we've saved the day, but it's not really over. Like there's the final fight still to come. That's what this is. It's just normally in like a movie, say, like in a horror movie, that would be like 10 minutes before the end, and then the killer would get back up. That's basically what this.
I think.
This
yeah,
was.
no, I think you're right. I don't think it works on TV. I think 40 minutes
that's
to do
fair.
that, and in 2 weeks between, that it's just too long. It doesn't work.
I think that's a fair point. I think there's maybe other shows that maybe can pull that off. I don't know, but this episode was Michael Myers lying on the floor, and at the end of the episode he sat up. Come back for the final chase next week. That's basically this. I've got Halloween in the brain. The new trailer's dropping tomorrow for the new one.
Thanks. So many trailers this week.
There's so many trailers, yes. Very busy trailer week for some reason, but there you go.
Making up for last week, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. You can get all that on the
I mean, honestly, like, sitting debating the episode with you, I can't really fault much of your complaints. Some of it didn't bother me as much as it did you, but like I can't really fault the critiques.
Yeah, because sometimes you'll feel like my opinion. I'll find something that really bugged me, and you'll be like, "Nah, that's just a nothing."
Yeah, you're an idiot. Yeah.
Yeah, but on this one, you agree with what I'm saying. It just doesn't bother you too much.
Yeah, like it's handled other issues better. Like the immigration stuff with the ship last season was fantastic.
That was really good. Yeah.
I thought because it bounces around. When Maggie's father turned out to be like really homophobic, that was a bit clunkier and didn't really work. I thought the Jimmy stuff with the being arrested a few weeks ago was a bit better. I thought that's some good moments.
I think it had one awkward scene, but it was better.
And there's been others here or there throughout. Obviously, there's been a lot of the importance of the press. That was a big season 1 thing. There was a lot of that back then.
Yeah, that was usually pretty good.
Yeah. So I don't know. We'll see. By the way, if Lena doesn't figure out that Supergirl, I already think she knows, but if she doesn't, and the fact that Kara has a leaving party the same time Supergirl leaves the planet, she is she doesn't deserve to be mad at her. She's too stupid.
She doesn't deserve the Luthor name.
No, she doesn't.
But this is the point though as well. How are they getting back to Earth at the end? Because obviously Selena took the ship, right?
We haven't even talked about that yet. Selena took the ship, and now Selena's on Earth with a few of her cronies. They build a new fortress. The cult guy's there. He's there to help them. He's got the crystal, and they jam it in the ground. New fortress. Fun stuff. I imagine that the fortress being rebuilt is probably what actually gave Rain her power back. That's probably what beamed her back in. So, I mean, I mean, again, it's kind of weird taking it away and then just bringing it back at the end of the episode, but I'll at least buy the logic.
Do you know what I would say? I laughed because the moment that she discovered, she got her powers back. They were watching the TV, right? And it was all the people in raincoats, and it was raining. I was like, the wrong kind of rain. I know it sounds the same, but that should not be reminding you.
Do you think that's what they were going for?
No, I just think it was a really awkward coincidence that I happened to pick up on.
Good, because I don't think them watching Singing in the Rain was I was Singing in the Rain, right?
I think it was, yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was.
I thought it was Singing in the Rain, but they're in the coats. It's raining. She looks over, and then rain's back. I was like, really? That's
what's the significance of the coats?
What?
You mentioned the coats there really specifically, as if that was part of it.
Yeah, big raincoats, right?
Oh, sure, yeah, but I mean...
But very specifically, because you can see rain, but you might not notice, but when it's highlighted because of the coats, because they're bright yellow, and your attention is drawn to it, you're wearing that because it's raining.
They also had umbrellas. I think the umbrellas were enough to really signify the rain. It's kind of the purpose of an umbrella.
Yeah, it's also the purpose of a raincoat, but, whatever. Well, this is one that is not a real complaint, but I thought it was really weird how that happened, like a weird coincidence. I'm like, that can't be an accident, right? You know what you've put on the TV. You chose this movie, and you chose to have her react to that movie, even though she's not actually reacting to that movie. It's an event on the somewhere else in the world. But I don't know, it just struck me as a really strange choice.
Warner Brothers own Singing in the Rain. That's why it's Singing in the Rain. They thought,
I get it, but they own about 1 million other movies.
They do, but they said, no, like, we think they're fans of musicals, old musicals. They watch musicals together. We'll pick Singing in the Rain.
I buy it. It's probably...
It's the most famous one they own, so they'll pick that one.
No, I can't argue with that.
The producer's a fan of the movie. It's that simple. Right?
It might well be. It was just weird because rain and rain.
I'm not even against the pun.
I wouldn't be if one of the episode titles was Singing in the Rain, but spelled this way.
Yeah. What is the finale called?
I don't know. If it is Singing in the Rain, then I'll take it. But...
I feel like there's rain in the title. It's not Singing in the Rain.
Go on.
But it's called Make It Rain.
Oh. I'll take it.
I'm taking that. That's good.
That is good.
Yeah, so Supergirl and Mon-El are stranded on Argo. Although I'm sure they'll be back for the end of the finale. I'm sure they'll find a way.
No, obviously. They got to come in and save the day, right?
Yeah. Actually, that was honestly the first thing that made me cringe in the episode. Just one final point I want to make is when Supergirl just turned to Mon-El and said, "Hey, do you want to come too?" I'm like, why? Why are you asking the married man for like a getaway on Argo City?
I mean, to be fair, in her weird... I don't know why I'm defending... He did go... Hey, when you get there, can you see if they got this thing for me and, send it back? Or send the message for me. She's like, just come and send the message yourself. So,
That was not how she phrased it. It was like, come, I'd like if you would be there, smile. And yeah, the smile makes my heart melt, but still, it doesn't matter.
No, I know. No, I'm with you.
It doesn't matter. Like, she's being all flirty.
It was a bit of a flimsy excuse, wasn't it?
Not having it. Get one to come with you. He'll be geeking out all the alien shit.
He will. He really will.
Behave. So that's Supergirl. Finale's next week. Oh dear. So we'll see how the season ends, and hopefully it shapes up to something. I can see it being a fun action episode, even if some of the plot's a bit flimsy.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah. All right, we'll move on.
Yeah, we should. Yeah.
We'll move on to Lois and Clark. Season 1, Episode 10. It's called Pheromone, My Lovely. This is the perfume episode in which there is a perfume which makes people madly in love with someone, drops all inhibitions. Think of it as romantic red kryptonite. Not just for Superman, though, it's for everyone, but romantic red kryptonite is how I dare describe it.
In fact, it doesn't affect Superman.
Exactly, it's the opposite. There's a joke at the end with that, but yeah, he's unaffected. Everyone else starts freaking out. Lois starts, being attracted to Clark, and she comes over and she puts a leg up on the table and says, "Hey Clark, what you doing?"
Yeah.
And it's a whole thing. Before we get to the main plot, though, I want to talk about the opening scene before the titles.
Yeah, please. I have a really, really strong opinion on one certain point of this.
I don't have a strong opinion. I have a theory as to something as to why this scene exists. More on that in a second. So the opening scene of this episode before the titles is that it's Clark getting up in the morning and we see him like he drinks an entire carton of milk and it all sucks in because he's super breath and then he blows it back out. He throws it outside and he makes some eggs with his heat vision on his plate.
This is my problem.
Mm-hmm.
Who has just fried egg for breakfast? That's weird to me. Fried egg with other things, scrambled egg or an omelette if it's on its own, but just fried egg is not a breakfast.
I can't stand eggs, so I mean, I have no.
I don't get it. At least have some bread with it, right?
I've got no horse in this race. What do you want from me?
I don't know. It struck me as I was watching. So I was like, Clark, what are you playing at?
Healthy people have just egg for breakfast. I guess.
I don't think they do because I don't think that's very nutritious to get you through till lunchtime, and healthy people are a bit more aware of that.
No, I've heard of is it bodybuilders who just drink or eat eggs in the morning? That's their thing.
Yeah, raw
for the protein.
Yeah, but they're still not having just fried egg. They're having raw egg and like yogurt and stuff like that.
Oh, that didn't seem that weird to me. I mean, as someone who hates egg, we never have egg at all in any capacity. This just felt like this is some dirty egg eater. It's fine.
Yeah, sure, okay.
But yeah, so after he has his breakfast, he's like, "Oh crap!" and he flies out the window as Superman because the garbage truck's like leaving, and he goes up and he's like, he stops the truck from moving. I feel like he could just grab the carton. He didn't have to actually hold the truck in place.
Yeah, bit of an ego, isn't he?
But big dramatic point to make. He's like, "Oh, no, I'll take this," and he throws it into the recycling. And there's a kid who's like sort of standing there. He's like, "And remember, it's not just garbage anymore." And he flies off, and all I could think was, okay, that was a marketing slogan. This was during like a big push for recycling in the mid-90s, and this was like I don't know if it was necessarily a paid thing where they had to put it into the episode, or if it was just a joke because everyone was sick of seeing these recycling ads.
I think more likely the former of, everything on the network had a recycling thing that week or that month. I would not be surprised if this final bit was cut out and shown just as an ad on its own.
Oh, maybe, yeah.
Not all of it, not the whole breakfast thing, but him going from where he goes out the window and goes up to grabs the truck and to talk to the kid.
It was such a slogan. I was like, was this like the first big push? In the mid-90s, was that the first time we had a big sort of marketing like shift to like, no, we should all be recycling? Because I remember it being a big thing in Independence Day. Like Jeff Goldblum's character was really into recycling.
Mm.
And I feel like now you don't. It's such a 90s thing. Characters aren't into recycling anymore. Everyone just does it because it's just part of the world now.
Yeah, it's not you don't have a recycling push. People still remind you, but there's not big marketing campaigns about it.
Yeah, if someone
recycling bins everywhere.
Yeah, if someone puts something in the wrong bin and someone knows, they might say to you, like, "Hey, that's recycling," because some people are just dicks and don't care.
Do you know what I learned in the last couple of weeks about recycling?
Oh, go on.
Pizza boxes, cardboard pizza boxes. Mm-hmm. You can't recycle them.
The cardboard.
No, I know, but the grease from the pizza ruins the box, and they actually have to separate them, and they can't use them.
That is fascinating.
So you're actually giving people more work by putting them in the recycling.
There you go, people. Pizza boxes are not for recycling.
I know. Who'd have known?
Learn something every day. I assume I didn't think the grease would compromise the integrity.
Completely ruins the integrity of the cardboard, the structure. Yeah.
I mean, I can see it ruins it at the time, but I figured once you put it into a blender or whatever and mashed it back up and spat it back out, whatever you use it.
Because grease is just so resistant, it's just ruined.
It's a sacrifice I'm willing to pay for the pizza, quite frankly.
Me too. Yeah.
but good to know. Good to know.
Yeah.
So the main episode is that this Miranda character, who of course had a past with Lex Luthor, he's kind of dumped her, but now she kind of proves that her stuff works. It's basically a perfume that makes them attracted to someone and lose all inhibitions. And there's some fun stuff with Lois being madly in love with Clark and him kind of joking about it. Perry's into the cleaning lady. Jimmy's attracted to this perfume model who's kind of walking, because they have like a perfume event at the planet, which is why like these characters are all there in the first place.
Yeah.
There's some fun stuff from this. Jimmy also gets hit by a bus because he's rejected. He just walks out in front of a bus and Clark has to swoop in and save him.
I also not criticise the effects on this show very often because it's all the time, but this one seemed worse than usual. Like the motion of him swooping in just didn't fit.
That's fair. I mean, I don't know if it stuck out to me more than normal, but yeah, it definitely wasn't like a great effect.
Well, that's the only way reason I mention it is because I feel like it was a worse effect than usual.
Fair enough. So, Supergirl comes by, she's got a belly dancing outfit. I remember this scene because I think in the credits next season.
Sorry, you mean Lois?
What did I say?
Supergirl.
That's a
Supergirl comes by, got a belly dancing outfit.
That was a weird scene.
You're projecting a little.
I'm not. Like, I legitimately don't get the belly dancing outfit. It's just not something that I like. I may have a lot of weird preferences for outfits, but belly dancing is not one of them. All right. It's never the whole belly dancing thing is never really caught on for me.
I'm with you, but I don't know. It felt a bit of an intentional slip of the tongue.
Because there's certain like supposedly sexy outfits that I just like. Belly dancing is one of them, but there's other ones as well where I'm just like, I don't get this one. I don't see why this is seen as like an attractive outfit, but obviously everyone has different tastes, so knock yourselves out. Do what you want to do. Belly dancing I don't get, but anyway, so Lois goes by and she does a little belly dancing bit, and I remember this because in the credits, I think next season it's in the opening credits, so that little bit where she throws the little veil up and she kind of spins around, like that's in the credits for the next year, so that clip's just sort of ingrained into my head. But the whole thing, there's the honourable things. No, this would be taking advantage. I've dreamed of this. Well, not exactly this because you're in a belly dancing outfit. I would concur.
He doesn't get it either.
I mean, if the love of my life walked in the room in a belly dance, I'd be like, okay, I'm into the fact that you really care, but why the belly dancing outfit?
But I'll take it, right?
I mean, sure, but belly dancing outfit.
I mean, he resists right up until the next morning.
Yeah, that was a weird scene because it didn't seem genuine. It felt like he was doing a bit, like he was sort of intentionally doing it to see what would happen or something like that.
It felt like he knew that she was out, back to normal.
Yeah, it almost felt like
definitely didn't.
He was going for the joke almost. Yeah.
Yeah, but it plays like he was just like, no, I've caved. I'm going for it, right?
Yeah, but the way he said it, I don't know. I wonder if like the script and then the intent in the scene like changed after they shot it.
Maybe, yeah.
Because it played really out of character because it felt like, okay, he's doing this to test her, but then it just played like, oh, he didn't know, and I'm like, no.
Yeah,
but
we're assuming this because it's Clark, it's Superman, right? But the way it plays,
well, it's not even just that; it's the way he says it as well. It feels like a knowing kind of.
It does.
I'm pretending to say this, like I don't mean it.
Yeah, but again, there's nothing to indicate that he is aware.
It's a weird blip. I'm happy just to ignore it because it does feel like a weird little oddity. Yeah. It doesn't feel like an actual thing that was intentional. But
no, I agree. Worth mentioning though.
So it's worn off. It's worn off. That's apparently, depending on your tolerance, this could be about 48 hours before it wears off. Perry's been punched by the wife of the cleaning lady because he got all Elvised up and went over to her apartment. So there's some funny scenes in this one. But of course, they go and get the stuff tested, and it turns out, okay, so it's pheromones, blah, blah, blah. But there has to be an actual attraction in the first place for it to play upon. It won't just make you care about someone that you didn't care about in the first place. So obviously, there's a moment here where Lois goes, yeah, but that would mean I have to already have feelings for you. And Clark's like, yes, Lois?
Yeah.
Yes. It's like, shut up, I'm not attracted to you. And what I think's funny about this is that, I mean, admittedly, we know that ultimately she's going to be, but I like the idea that because this is pure pheromones and it's like, animal attraction, it's actually the fact that she's attracted to Superman, and she doesn't realise it's the same person, but the chemistry does not lie, I guess is what I'm saying.
Okay, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Maybe.
But she's also into Clark anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
She is, so it's a moot point, right?
Yeah, I mean, she's lying her ass off about it, but she's totally.
Oh, obviously, yeah. I love how smug he is about it, though.
Oh, I'd be smug too. Let's be honest.
Yeah, you're just like, oh yeah, proof that she's into you, right?
She's like, oh, you're into me anyways. Like, no, I'm not. What are you talking about?
Yeah, didn't see me getting all attracted to you, did you?
Yeah, it's like, Yeah, she's very, very upset about all this. And of course, ultimately, like, Miranda tries to use it on Lex. It doesn't work because he has no attraction to her. He has this date with Lois. He falls madly for Lois, even though he's already kind of into her anyway. Well, that's kind of the point, but, like, more so. And then Miranda gets jealous and plans to... Because there's one line early on telling us about this fruit fly, like plane that's going to, like, basically fumigate the city.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, because I think it was Jimmy's like, hey, if this is safe, why do we have to keep our pets inside? It's like you just do, just to be sure.
And so we have her flying a plane, and she's going to douse the city in her revenge, but full potency, so it's like permanent.
Yeah,
Superman, of course, flies up, sucks in a little bit of it, and spits it in her face, and then she falls in love with Superman. I was like, okay, fair enough.
it's fair enough because
Yeah.
who doesn't, right?
But it was funny though, because obviously Superman has the fun stuff when he's been hit with it, and Lois is like, oh, it's a good thing it doesn't affect you, Superman, or does it? And there's this really meta cartoon moment where he turns around and looks right at the camera and goes, and then the eyebrows go up, and he turns back and he's like, I love you, Lois. And that's all he says. He says one line, and then she's like, oh, I can't take advantage of you. Oh, screw it. It just goes in for a kiss, and she makes out with him for like a minute.
And you got Lex watching all annoyed.
And she's like, oh, Lois, don't. Oh, I'm going to throw up. Which is funny, because earlier on he said he didn't get sick.
Yeah.
That was a line of dialogue earlier on, so him saying that was actually doubly funny. They set that up really well. But that was amusing. It's funny, because earlier on he didn't take advantage of her. Is lying to her here technically still taking advantage?
Yes. Yes, it is.
I mean, it's her choice to do it. But
it is, because he knows exactly. He's going, I can get something out of this.
I guess I would class this as an innocent taking advantage.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, as much as he is by setting it up, she's the one who goes. He just leaves the option open, right?
Yeah, he leaves the option open. She is not intoxicated with anything. She makes the choice as an adult to go in for the kiss, and he just lets it happen. So I mean,
he opens the door and then does nothing.
Yes,
and she walks through it. She chooses to walk through it completely voluntarily.
I like the idea that in the future, when she finds out it's Superman, he can go back to her and say, hey, by the way, when you were actually infected with that love potion, I actually held off and didn't take advantage. But you, on the other hand, jumped on top of me. So
that's definitely a conversation they have one night.
They should. I'm actually upset, because I've seen the whole show, of course. I'm upset that's not a scene later on.
Yeah.
I'm upset. It should have been.
So annoying. It's headcanon now, though. Just one night off camera.
Yeah, headcanon. They're just lying in bed, and then one night he's just going to, because he'll have forgotten about it. He'll just be sitting there doing his crossword.
No, what it'll be, it won't be in bed. It'll be they're in a store, and you know when they're spraying perfume. They'll go, oh hey, funny story. Remember that time?
And he'll be all smug about it again.
Yeah.
We should also mention that when she's all loved up on the potion, she actually is like, hey, you look like Superman, I've never noticed. And at the end of this, she's like, you know, Clark, I realised why I thought you looked like Superman when I was on the potion, because when you're in love, any man you love looks like Superman. Yeah,
I'm not sure that's true, but keep telling yourself that, Lois.
But hey, that's Lois and Clark. It's a stupid, like, really 90s plot of an episode, because it's just this love potion.
That is a fun one.
But it's a fun one, because you've got all the characters doing funny stuff. Jimmy, like, you know, the model hates his guts until he's himself.
He proper stalks her.
He proper stalks, and at the end he goes up to apologize, like, hey, I wasn't myself, this, potion thing, I'm actually kind of a nobody, and I'm sorry I did that. And then that's when she's like, she did it a bit quick, but I like the reason for kissing him is because she realizes that the entire newsroom is watching because they know what's going on. She's like, all right, I'm going to throw him a bone.
They're all relishing in him being like put in his place, right?
Yeah. She's like, I'm going to throw him a bone. And gives him a kiss. So
yeah,
good for Jimmy. Good for Jimmy. I have to mention the joke, and I see this coming every time because I always forget until the moment it's about to happen. I'm like, Kat's not actually on the potion; she's just horny. Because is this just regular guy comes in to he's there to fix the photocopier, and he's just like, oh, I'm giving my hands, and she's like taking off her earrings, just like, and he's like, that's this she's this cougar on the prowl, she's going to take him right on the photocopier, and he come in later, and he's like, okay, well, and the clothes are all disheveled, he's like, okay, my work's done, it's fixed, I've got other calls to make. And he's like, wait a minute, and she just pulls out some cables. And she's like, alright, guess you need to stay here. And he looks terrified. He looks legitimately terrified. And at the end, it's like, well, Kat, you were more, raunchy than usual, even for you. It's like, perfume? What perfume? What are you talking about? Wasn't sprayed with Eden.
Yeah, she's doing a thing.
Oh, dear.
And then, of course, at the end, we have Lex admit that he is in love with Lois.
Yeah, so the perfume actually kind of made him realise that he is actually, and it's almost like a weakness for him because now he has something that he cares about.
Hmm. Yeah,
So it's
it's
the whole
interesting.
thing. Yeah, Lex kind of Lex. Also, this show did Lex fencing before Smallville did. I just want to point that out. That was a thing.
I did. I laughed as well when it cut to the fencing because I'd forgotten about that.
You know,
I think it's much more memorable in Smallville because it was like a big introduction piece.
yeah, although I feel like you've got this entire building to your disposal and you don't have another room for the fencing. You're just in your
Yeah,
office
yeah,
still.
yeah. No, weird place for it.
TV budget sets, that kind of thing. But hey
Yeah,
ho, what have you got to do? So I guess that's Lois and Clark. It's a fun episode. I can't
it
fault
was.
it too much. So hey, well I guess that takes us on to Smallville.
Yep.
Season 1, episode 9. It's called Rogue.
What happened in this one again?
A corrupt cop from Metropolis
Oh,
catches
that one.
Clark.
Yeah,
Catches Clark using his powers, and he's like, "I'm going to extort this little shit."
it's always a good sign, isn't it? So the
Um,
worst part is I watched that like 3 hours ago, maybe.
I think there's a couple of notable things in this episode. I want to talk about the armor plate from Alexander the Great with the snake that looks like an S, and then Clark's like, "I can't see myself wearing that into battle." Ha ha! Isn't that funny? I hit my mic. I didn't mean to do that. Ha ha!
Yes, yeah. One of the worst of the oh, wink wink nudge nudge moments, right?
Although I actually have an even bigger problem with the line that comes up a little bit later in the scene.
Go on.
Clark, he gets kind of awkward because Lana's there and Lex is doing. He's like, I invited you both. You got to fight Whitney. He's your enemy, Clark. He's your enemy. It's like, yeah, you're not an evil mastermind, Lex. Sure, you're not. You see, everything is your enemy. You have to destroy him and take the girl.
No, I like this for Lex, not even as being evil, but just as a product of how he was brought up by his father. Everything's business. Everything's a threat.
Oh, sure.
Threat
But
or an opportunity.
Clark gets outside, and we're in Metropolis for the first time in the show. He steps out this museum. It's the Lex Museum, or whatever, or at least the museum's got a Lex event on, and he walks outside onto the steps and says, "Welcome to Metropolis." And I'm like, why would you be saying that now? It's not like you just teleported into the building and then you've walked out and this is the first time you're seeing the city. You would have gotten here earlier in the evening, maybe during the day. You'd have gotten off the train, out of a car maybe.
I wonder if this is the first moment he's had alone. Like Lex brought him here, maybe. And he's been mingling. This is the first time he's stepped outside
Don't get me
and
wrong.
had a moment to himself. I don't know.
If something happened, like he saw someone, like
Get stabbed.
well, no, he'd intervene with that, but I'm thinking like maybe he would see a couple of things that are very city-like. Like he'd see like a prostitute go by, and then he'd see like someone be kind of shitty and litter, or he'd see like an advert for something violent, whatever, something violent. I don't know, but he would see a couple of things and go, "Well, welcome to Metropolis." And then it makes sense in context because it's like he's acknowledging the difference from his home. Yeah. But all he does is literally walk out onto the steps. He looks up at the buildings and goes, "Welcome to Metropolis."
This is before he sees the homeless guy, right?
I think so. Yeah, this is before the homeless guy.
Yeah, because I mean, the homeless guy is probably enough to have justified that.
Yeah, that'll be more of a city thing, but still, it's just yeah. And you got a corrupt cop, and I don't know if I love or hate the fact that the police badges, are the shape of the emblem. I think I like it in a post-Superman world because I like the idea that they've been inspired by him, that they've incorporated it kind of into their design. Having it be the shape of his shield before Superman just feels really on the nose and like.
See, I'd like it if he didn't get the S from Krypton, right? The idea that he took, if he was designing it himself, and he was like, no, okay, they're law enforcement, I respect them. So I'm going to take part of that.
If he took the shape
symbol
from them, okay, that'd be an interesting twist on it.
It wouldn't be a traditional move for it, but I could respect that. But that's not what happens, obviously.
The problem with that though is that then the S is actually just an S. It means he has to get the name before he picks the logo.
Yeah, the S has to come from somewhere else.
Yes, because it's not just a symbol of his, House of L. It's not, hope.
Yeah, it's not all that. Yeah, can't. You can't do both.
Yeah, so I mean. But hey, so
it's not the worst offense, though, is it?
What, the badge?
Yeah.
No, I mean, it's not the worst. It's just I saw it and I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot they did this in this show, and I'm like, it's whatever.
Yeah.
there wasn't as much Lana stuff in this one, but the worst scene in the episode might be the Lana Chloe scene, where so Chloe gets taken off the paper because she keeps doing like exposés on weird alien shit, and Principal Quan's not having it, and Lana
I'm
goes.
not gonna lie, I'm on his side here.
And because he's like, it should be school-related things you're writing about, not conspiracy theories about aliens and meteor rock. But regardless, Lana goes to the principal to talk to him and try to hey, maybe you should reconsider this. The paper's important, blah blah blah. And basically, he says to Lana, we don't see this scene, but this is what we hear about later. It's like basically he said, well, since you care so much, you can run it, right? And then Lana says, okay, I'll do that. And thinking, I'll let Chloe basically still run it. I'll just kind of be the name, and get her back into. Chloe's reaction to this is so unjustified.
It makes no sense, does it?
She just immediately starts crying and being like, oh, I thought we were friends, Lana. You just want it for yourself. Cheerleading wasn't enough. And then the proper dick move is Clark's like, hey, Chloe, maybe you're jumping the gun. Because she is jumping the gun. He's like, oh yeah, you're totally unbiased and everything related to Lana. I'm like, oh, that's not awkward, Chloe. Yeah.
No, I'm with you. I'm like, why are you getting this upset? I mean, I know, I understand you're upset, right? This was your thing, and you feel like you're losing it, but you'd already lost it with or without Lana. Mm-hmm. It was gone. This is better than nothing. This is it was gone and dead on your own fault because of what you did, and then she, as a friend, went and tried to get it back and went, I've got something.
And even when Quan gives in later on, what he says makes a lot. He's like, "Don't print anything you can't prove." That is because even then it's like, yeah, if you want to talk about meteor rocks and shit, do it, but only if you can prove it. If there's not proof, you don't print it.
Yeah. Also, that story that Lana writes is such bullshit. Quan, censors free speech. No, he doesn't. He said it's a school paper, write about school things. That's within the edict of the job. That seems perfectly goddamn reasonable to me. This is pretty much... this is verging on libel.
This is like, you work at a sports magazine and your editor gets pissed because you did a movie review in your sports magazine.
Yeah, not even a sports movie.
Yeah, no, why did you write about Star Wars? We talk about basketball. Why did you write about Star Wars? You're trying to censor my free speech.
Yeah, I'm like, that's. I don't think people understand what free speech is. This cracked me. I'm like, why is he reacting to this? Be like, fine, I'll shut it down again. Why doesn't he just do that? Why does he give in? Because she puts this shitty article. He goes, oh, all right, fine, you win this one. Why? Just go, right, fine, I'll take the paper away again. Forget it.
Do you know, it's a shame my school never had a paper, because I'd have totally done the movie section. I'd have been that nerd. I'd have done it.
You would have, yeah. No, mine didn't either, but oh my, John, this pissed me off, because it just made no sense.
Yeah. Arguably we're debating here that there shouldn't be but I mean, I could buy there being like a culture section where you have some reviews of movies and stuff.
But is that front page news?
No, it's not front page.
Because this big meteor thing is front page to her. It's not an opinion piece buried in the paper, which all right, fair enough. No, this is front and center.
Yeah. So yeah, Crop Cop. That's what this is. Crop Cop.
Yeah, sidetracked.
He comes right to see Clark. He's like, that's what I thought was funny. He drops this big generator on Clark in the barn,
which we had a convenient scene saying of how heavy it was because Jonathan struggled with it, and then Clark lifted it nice and easy.
Well, which is fine. My problem with the scene was actually that when Clark was getting back up, it lands on top of him. Clark just throws it off and throws it over at the wall, destroying it. And I'm like, that's still your dad's generator. He still needs that. Why don't you just put it down gently?
Yeah, that's true.
I'm like, man, Clark. I mean, I know he loses his temper later and breaks a beam, but that's set up that he's angry. He's not angry yet.
I think he's just caught up in the moment. But he shouldn't be panicking because he doesn't know there's anyone there yet. He thinks it's just fallen, right?
Yeah, I mean, why wouldn't he just pick it up? It's like he's hurt. He's fine.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, so he tries to blackmail him. Clark tells the parents about it. He keeps you do this. It'll be a one-time thing, Clark. So he goes with him to Metropolis.
I will say I like the scene where Jonathan goes to meet him.
Oh, sure.
In the coffee shop. And he's there like, yeah, I figured it'd be you that showed up because, of course, he was going to tell the parents, right?
It's classic Jonathan. I think Jonathan's characterization makes sense in this episode. There's nothing I can fault with it. It's basically
we've said before, Jonathan's probably the best part of the show, right?
He goes to him wanting to talk him out of it, but ultimately when he gets there and the guy starts saying the various things, he's like, well, I don't actually have a comeback for a lot of this,
and he loses his temper a bit because Jonathan has some anger problems.
Yeah, and he uses that. That's another good scene. As Clark goes to him, because Jonathan, the cop plants a body and frames Jonathan for a murder, and Jonathan's in prison. Clark goes to see him, and there's a point after he gets arrested where Clark grabs the cop and puts him up against the wall, and he's really angry. And Jonathan gives him the good little speech. He's like, "No, you can't get angry, son. I've got anger problems, and I know that it's hard on it, but you can't. You
have to be better because you can hurt someone seriously."
Not only can you hurt someone, but I think Jonathan's more worried about if you do this once, no one will ever not be scared of you.
Yeah. And again, it's just the classic fathers wanting their sons to be better than them.
Exactly, yeah, classic stuff. So I can't fault the Jonathan side of things, but after this he goes, or before the body, because this happens because he doesn't do the job properly before. But he wants him to steal a safe from, because he's like, Clark, there's these bad guys. They're called internal affairs, and I'm like, yeah, sure, buddy, you're the bad guys.
Clark's gonna buy that.
Yeah. Clark's an idiot in this show. I don't see why not.
He doesn't know that.
So Clark goes up, gets this safe, but of course he tries to get him in the shit by just throwing the safe out the building onto his car and then leaving as the cops show up. But this doesn't work. So the big plan then is that he's helping him again with this other job after his dad's been arrested. He's like, okay, you're going to help me steal that plate because there's $10 million worth of jewels on it, so we're going to do that. So he's using them to break into a place, and he's like, and the one little touch I liked was that, he's like, is this fuse box thing alarmed? And he's like, no, the only alarm things they think someone can physically get into. And I'm like, okay, that's a nice little touch.
That makes sense. Right?
Yeah. Why would they alarm this? So he rips off. I mean, I guess people could cut into it, but it's properly welded shut.
It is, yeah. It'd be noticeable someone lugging welding gear up there.
Yeah. But hey, so he does it. But then he's like, he actually just throws the breastplate outside to where the guards are.
And Lex.
Yeah, Lex followed because Lex knows this cop. This cop used to cover up things back in Metropolis when he lived there. So he throws the thing out, and what I thought was odd about this is Lex happens to be out there when this bomb threat, because the cops put in a fake bomb scare to sort of distract the guards. For some reason, Lex is the one picking up the box. All the guards are standing behind Lex. Lex is the one in charge.
Well, yeah, no, I thought this was weird, and I have put some thought into it because it was really weird. I probably put way too much thought into it. Mm-hmm. Here's my justification. Lex is like, you know what, fuck it. I don't think this is a bomb, right? And he's just going in for it. And the guards are like, hey, we shouldn't be touching this. We should be waiting for bomb disposal, right? Bomb squad coming.
My only guess was that
I don't want anything to do with this.
My only guess was that Lex, either the Luthors owned this museum or they knew who he was, so they were willing to take orders from him. But it felt like he was in charge in the scene. It was weird.
It did, yeah.
So Clark just kind of throws the plate in the bag outside. Really, with super strength, out over the top of the window and out into the street. And it's like, your fingerprints all over that plate. There's no way you're getting out of this now. And this is when the cop makes the bizarrest choice to me. He's like, well, you're strong, but you're not bulletproof. And he pulls out a gun, and I'm like, okay, I guess he's not been shot yet in the show, so he doesn't know he's not bulletproof. It's not like he would try and test that.
Yeah, but I think it was really weird to me that this cop, the reason that you recruit him wasn't because he was strong, it was because he was, if the first thing he saw is take a bus hit, he dropped a generator. He knows he's resilient, not that he's strong.
I mean, a bullet will hit him harder than a bus.
I mean, sure, but the bus didn't even leave a scrap. The bus was in...
That reminds me, there was a funny moment I liked in Supergirl, when Sam wakes up and she's like, I feel like I've been hit by a bus, and Supergirl's like, sorry
about that. Yeah.
I thought it was pretty funny.
I'll give you that one.
But I mean, I guess this was him realizing that he's faster than a bullet, because this is the first time he's been shot at. So, and he has that moment where he looks at the bullet as it's going past, and he's like, "Whoa, I'm this fast now."
I think it was a little weird where he goes to one side and then he comes back to the other. I'm like, why did you come back across? I mean, just because you could, but
yeah, I think that's what it was. He was just trying to see if he could, because I thought. I mean, I'd forgotten. Obviously, I'd seen this years ago, but I thought he was going to get hit and realize, oh shit, I can take a bullet. I've never tried. Yeah. But instead he was like, no, I can move faster than a bullet. Oh.
Which is a nice moment, but
it's fine. It's just the cop's logic was a bit weird because he knew that he could take a bus, as you say. So it was a bit strange that he thought that this would.
That bus crumpled when it hit him. So bullet, that'll do the trick, definitely. It's a little handgun.
So the big thing, of course, is that Lex comes in. There's a shootout with the guards. The guy dies, obviously. And Lex, as the guy dies, like, what did you have on Clark? Tell me, you blackmailed him with something. Tell me what it is, I want to know. But he's just like, screw you, Lex, and he dies.
Yeah, I like, because I think the easy way is for him to tell him, just because, screw it, I don't owe Clark anything, right? Why
but
not?
he also hates Lex, so it still
just
plays.
Because he hates Lex that much, he spites him, even in, as he's dying. I kind of like that. And
Lex, has the security footage of just the blur moving past the camera.
Right, on this...
Why is there not a camera looking at the damn case where the goddamn expensive $10 million plate of armor was?
Didn't they disable the cameras when they were on the roof?
I think so.
I thought that was why they went up there. Alarms as well, but alarms and camp because Clark says, okay, we dealt with the cameras, but there's still guards.
Yes, this was a secret camera that was on a backup thing.
Because they're not super speeding in there. They walk in, even if there's not a camera directly on that that specific thing. They had to walk to it.
I can't explain. Also, Lex has got an old girlfriend around.
Oh yeah,
who's trying to take over his company
with not the worst ever British accent, but very stereotypical.
It was a thing. I don't know. It was next to meaningless, to be honest.
Yeah, her dad's got some other rich company that's a rival, and she's trying to take over.
She's around. That's basically the point of the episode. She's around now, at least for another episode or two.
Yeah.
So I mean, it wasn't the worst episode because, like I say, there was some actually good Jonathan scenes that were very kind of like, oh, this is okay. Here's a lesson, young Clark, that you need to know as someone who's going to become Superman. Oh, I laughed in the opening scene at the party in the museum because Clark's walking around and he's with mostly adults, and I laughed because wait a minute, you look just as old as most of the people here.
Yeah.
Because he had a suit jacket on because he's all dressed up for this thing, and I'm like, you look like you're 30.
Yeah, they get away with it a bit more in Smallville, where a lot of the adults are significantly older, right?
Yes.
Like there's a generational gap, and he's wearing high school clothes.
This was full of extras though that were like about the same age as him, but they were adults.
Yeah, it was awkward.
Yeah, it was strange. But hey ho.
I like the Jonathan stuff. I hated the Lana Chloe stuff.
Oh, despised it. A lot of the stuff with the cop was just kind of tedious to get through. Even Lex kind of chasing things down was mostly just kind of like him and his kind of girlfriend was kind of just whatever.
The stuff with the girlfriend was annoying. The stuff without was fine. It wasn't as good as some of the Lex stuff.
No, the ending with them was fine, but everything building up to it was just kind of weird and or dull.
I like the scene where the cop came to him first. Obviously, he had the picture of them together, and he's like, "No, don't know him. Sorry."
Yeah, but of course you're going like, is that because he's protecting him, or is that just because he doesn't want, he wants to figure out Clark for himself?
I think it's more to distance him because he knows this guy's going to get to him anyway. Because it's Smallville. You ask anyone, right? They go, "Oh yeah, that's the Kent kid."
Yeah,
but. So he knows that's going to happen. So I think it's more just so he doesn't implicate himself. If Clark asks, it's like, hey, I didn't give you up.
I just saw there's a list at the side of the IMDb page. It gives you user lists to related to the thing you're looking at.
Yeah.
It says Smallville season 1 rated, and it says 8.6 out of 10. I call bullshit on that rating. I call bullshit. Even swapping those numbers to a 6.8 is still far too high. I'm not having that.
I might slide to a 6 at best overall once we get there, maybe.
So far, I'm at like a nice smooth 4.
Yeah, for maybe a 4.5, maybe.
But that's Smallville. So
yeah.
Hey, I said at the start this will be a shorter episode. It actually ended up not being a shorter episode, despite the fact that we only had three shows. But hey ho. That's fine. So, next week we'll have the Supergirl finale, and we'll have a Smallville, Lois and Clark, and one Young Justice. Week after that, and then for the rest of the summer, it'll be Smallville, Lois and Clark, and 2 Young Justices. And we should finish Young Justice before we actually get to the new seasons of stuff, so we will actually be on to maybe a new animated show before the end of the off-season. So, that'll be fun. But that is this week's show. That is Television from the Multiverse. There's only one new show, so obviously Supergirl wins by default.
Which is really annoying because I don't think it deserves it. It's on its own. It doesn't deserve it.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose Lois and Clark was probably the most fun episode of the week. I'll give it that.
If I had to pick, I'd pick Lois and Clark out of everything. But
yeah.
But
hey. So again, sorry for no Young Justice this week. This was just because we had to squeeze this into a day that we don't normally record because it's
there's other stuff that we have to record on this day.
No, it's not. You're away.
No, I mean it's on this day. The reason we have to squeeze it is because time's tight.
You made that sound like we can't record our usual day because we're doing other stuff. No, we're not. You're just away. No. You're away for 2 days.
I just meant we're doing we did other stuff today, which is why this had less time to watch Young Justice.
Yes. We tried to squeeze it as much as we could. There was actually a chance it'd be even less than this, but we still squeezed in both Lois and Clark and Smallville. So hopefully you had fun with the episode. Hopefully we'll see you next time. Let us know what you thought of this week's Supergirl, and even the classic shows as well, in the comments below. Try and not get too political with the gun debate stuff, please.
Or at least be respectful.
Yeah, well,
if you're going to be political, I suppose can't blame you when that's the whole point of the episode, but just keep it civil.
I feel like YouTube comments and Twitter are not the best places for the discussion, is all I'm saying.
I'd agree with that, but then you have the President of the United States making everything on Twitter, so I guess that's a legitimate platform now.
If anything, he's the example why it shouldn't be on Twitter.
No, I know, but now it is. Now that is the platform of political debate.
Oh, God.
I weep for humanity.
I mean, at least it's not 140 characters anymore. You can get a full sentence out. I mean, that's worth something,
right?
But hey, so let us know what you thought of the episodes. Like, subscribe, all the usual stuff. Get us on Twitters at mailed_fuzz for channel updates, or at DC Comics Podcast for DC Comics specific stuff. A lot of comic stuff in that one. Retweeting book announcements and art and various things.
Oh, there was a tiny bit of news this week that we forgot to mention right at the start.
Where were you at the start of this?
Because I don't know. I remembered in like the middle of Supergirl, and I was like, "Oh, I'll make sure to tell you at some point, and then we'll speak about it." But I forgot again. It's just popped into my head now. We got confirmation that Wally will not be a series regular next season on Legends or The Flash. He's kind of going away for a bit.
No, that's interesting. That sounds like he'll be there at the start still, and then leave.
He's confirmed for the first episode of Flash at the moment.
Right. Okay. So he's still around for a couple of things. Probably.
He is. Because it kind of leaked in the. We had speculation based on the poster a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
But the actor put out a big Instagram or Twitter post, the pictures with all the text, saying it seems like it was his choice. Like he wants to kind of go off and do some other things.
Yeah, okay. I mean, if he wants to go, he wants to go. I just at least if they write him out of both shows, if they actually have a good goodbye with the Legends, that'd be nice. And maybe he'll be back next season for a more permanent role.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey ho. I mean, it's a shame because Wally, he's been better in Legends, but I think as a whole, given how much we love Wally from the comics, it's kind of a shame how much of a non-event he's been overall in terms of the
squandered, hasn't he?
Universe. Yeah. But hey ho. But that's us. Thank you once again for watching and listening. We always appreciate it. Make sure you go to patreon.com/MailFuzzTV if you want to support the channel and everything we do and keep us going. There's a link in the description, but otherwise that is us. So thank you once again. We'll see you next time, and always remember that sometimes we screw things up for the better.